One of the scariest questions to ask in a romantic relationship is something like, um, how do you feel about me? You know, is this relationship going well? If you've ever been in a romantic relationship, then you probably know what I'm talking about. But I remember being in a relationship and having strong feelings for someone, even being in love with that person. And I wasn't sure whether or not they felt the same way about me. And I remember feeling like, I really want to know where this person stands in the relationship and how they feel. But I don't want to just go up to them and be like, hey, I love you. Do you feel the same about me? Because that would be, that would be crazy. So instead, I would try and nibble around the conversation. I would try to figure out how the other person feels through signs and suggestions. I would project what I thought they were actually feeling or thinking based on their actions. If this person texts me right back, or if they said they had fun after the date, or if they wished me luck before something happened in my day, it's like, okay, these are signs of someone being in love with me too, because I, in fact, do all those things in relationship with them. But if that person doesn't do any of those things or any one of those things, then I am likely to assume, and I was likely to assume, that the whole thing was going to go up in flames and I should probably keep my distance, because if I really find out where I'm at, if I really find out how this other person sees me, if I really find out how they're evaluating the relationship, there's a chance that I might lose the relationship. And out of a desire to keep the relationship in whatever form it takes, rather than know where I stand, it's like you end up delaying having the talk in the relationship. Well, the opposite of that is what this scribe does in this week's gospel. The scribe doesn't beat around the bush. He does the crazy thing. He does the courageous thing. And he asks Jesus the straight up question. He says, hey, look, there are 613 laws. What is actually important? Or in other words, give me a way to know if I'm in right relationship with God. Give me a way to know whether or not me and God were good. And the reason why this is so courageous is because Jesus could give him an answer and he could realize that he has to change his whole life, right? The stakes on this thing are not small. The stakes on this question, they're not small at all. And Jesus knows this, and he gives him a straight answer. He gives the great Shema prayer. Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God is Lord alone. You shall love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, with all your mind, and with all your strength. But Jesus doesn't stop there. Jesus goes for a little bit extra, and he points to the secondary importance of loving your neighbor as yourself as well. The scribe then affirms Jesus' answer, and Jesus tells him then where he's at in his relationship with God. He says, you're not far from the kingdom of heaven. In other words, you have work to do. You understand the law, you understand what's important, but you've got some work to do to turn that understanding into reality. But have hope, you're not far. Now, pay special attention to what everybody else does in response. Everybody else clams up. They clam up because they don't want to know how far or how near they are to the kingdom of God. Jesus just gave them the criteria, and they've got to decide whether or not they accept that criteria, because once they accept that criteria, they then have a pretty good self-awareness about how far and near they are to God, and that's scary. That's scary, because if you know how far you are from God and you claim that God is the most important relationship in your life, then you've got work to do. You've got work to do. If those truly are the two most important laws in life, well, then that's a test that I maybe am not receiving a passing grade on, and I've got to change some significant things to alter that. This Sunday, I encourage you to be like this scribe. Don't be like everyone else in the crowd. Dare to actually assess your relationship with God. Dare to examine how close or how far you are from the kingdom. Take time to evaluate your life. How well are you loving the Lord with your heart, with your soul, with your mind, with your strength? And how well are you treating your neighbor? Is it with the same level of mercy, tenderness, and generosity that you hope you might receive? Or is there something lacking? I know that when I do this type of evaluation, it's very clear I have work to do. But it's also very clear that I'm not dead yet. And there's still time to turn it around. There's hope. And there's hope because I recognize the gap. Well, there's still some time left on the clock. And the same can be true for you. May you be bold this Sunday. God bless you. And remember, you were made to do hard things.